Hi there, I'm Nico Kritsiotis, and you're watching The Direct Line powered by 10Bet. It's been a while since we last spoke to you, so we've got an action-packed show lined up for you. My special guest on the show today is Justin Snaith, champion trainer, and he's heading for another championship as it reaches the season end. He'll be chatting to us about the first log released for the Durban July just a couple of days ago, and his horses represented in this year's big race. We'll also speak about my trip up to Zimbabwe last weekend. I went up to commentate on the Castle Tankard, which has now been going 67 years. Can you believe it? And we'll chat about my experiences there. Later on in the show, we'll be looking at the Highveld Features Season Awards. They take place this coming Saturday, the 16th of May. We'll find out who's nominated for the big awards on Saturday night. And finally, we'll talk about the big World Cup, which starts on Thursday, the 11th of June, and how 10Bet are betting on a few of the markets. That's all coming up on The Direct Line, powered by 10Bet. Well, our special guest on today's Direct Line show is champion trainer Justin Snaith. He's won 6 championships and he's about to win his 7th as well, judging by the latest stats, because he's almost amassed 25 million rand in stake money, which is an extraordinary feat for a man that is steeped in racing history too. And he joins us now from I take it down in Cape Town, it's a bit drier now, Justin, because my goodness me, you guys have been inundated with rain down there.
No, Nico, this to be honest was possibly 2 days of just non-stop rain. As you know, we're a private establishment. We're busy sticking some walls back up. I've been on a tractor in the morning, opening up streams so water can flow. The unfortunate thing is we're in an area where there's not much place for water to go. So it builds up, and it's been a tough, but very fortunate. Everything's perfect, all good, and some other areas have been really badly hit. I see some of the stud farms, unfortunately, literally had to evacuate horses and stuff like that. So from that point of view, we're very fortunate.
Well, it's great to see you in good order, and I've just wondered at your background now, because that's the great flaming rock that we have behind you there on the old Rothmans July posters. Just wonderful memories of this race, and we are coming up to that, which is the basis of our interview, but I do want to talk to you about some other things. But how old were you when Flaming Rock won the July?
I actually rode him a couple times in the Natal season. I was 14, 16, if I remember correctly. I won my first ever 400 rand.
Oh, did you?
For me at the time, underage gambler.
But at least you can say it was yours, as opposed to these days when it's never yours.
Yeah, 100%. And I won my first 400 rand. It was literally more money than if you took all the kids at school. I probably had more money than they did after he won that race with my 400 rand. It was a unbelievable moment. And my father, I don't think he had a winner for the next 6 months afterwards. It was great for him, greatest moment of his racing career, and then the worst 6 months of his life afterwards. So It was always a good grounding for me to watch and see where the highs and lows of racing. I learned quick that day.
The last time you and I spoke on this particular show was just before the Highveld season. And you said you were going to send up a couple of horses, which you did. And my goodness me, did you have a wonderful raid up here, which was fantastic to see. You must be well pleased. But I wanted to ask you more so what your horses were like after the season and how they came out of that.
Well, we did it. Nico, it's been a lot of trial and error, I can assure you. I have flown horses Johannesburg. I've sent them to trainers, which has been very much hit and miss. I sent Dance's daughter up. She won a Group 1. Unfortunately, she broke down. I sent Give Me the Green Light up. He unfortunately broke down. He won and then went wrong. So it's been a lot of learning how to get this right. Last season, we saw a trainer like Frank Robinson that, for me, shot lights out. He was unbelievable in the manner in which he raided from Summerveld. and you've seen a lot of the Natal trainers for the first time. At the beginning there, you got to have confidence to go, even though it looks like you might not win. You've got to get those horses on the track, and you've got to take your chances. We saw the Bremners from the Eastern Cape come up, and how she did it, and remember how she shot lights out. And to be honest, there's been a lot of grey area about what's been happening in Johannesburg. From a few of the trainers and what's going on in the NHRA, and you're hearing stories all the time. Certainly TCO2 testing has sort of curved. It seems that the horses are running more consistently to their form, and that gives us confidence to come up to Johannesburg, because previously I always felt that it was an impossible task. So now that that's in effect, and for me personally, I just think that it's good, fair racing in Johannesburg. They've gone, you guys have gone into an area now where you're going to have some great racing up there. The trainers aren't scared to come up. As I said earlier, I went through the way that I thought it was the best, was from Summerveld, because it's a quick raid. So we just got to time it correctly. And as I said, Frank and I have had great fun. I'm never one not to learn. And although it takes him half an hour to explain to me something, he's something different, and I really enjoyed that. So I've been up at Summerveld and figuring it out, and with him, and it's been a great journey. We have obviously we had Andrew Fortune up there as well, Tristan Godden. It was a massive team effort, and the results showed. So, and as you said, the horses afterwards, I mean, look what Okavango did on the weekend. They're in great condition. They thoroughly enjoyed going up there. All the trainers there are always so helpful. One thing I'll say about Johannesburg, the trainers always are, come. How can we help? They are by far the best trainers in this country, in the way that they are just eager to have us there, whereas some of the other provinces are actually pretty much rude, to be honest, and the racing operators are actually rude. They are just phenomenal, and it was I can't wait to send them up because of the way the horses have turned out afterwards. Double Grand Slam, seed again. They've never been in
just a
better space.
For me as a commentator, it was just fantastic to see how well those horses traveled in the race. It made my job so much easier, but also to see champion race horses. I mentioned at the start of Champions Day that we had the best rated horses. The top rated filly in the country was here. The best rated horse in the country was here, and the best.
I actually heard you guys. I heard you guys, and you said that, to have a Hollywood Vets Durban July winner, and
Absolutely.
the World Sports Bet Met winner in a race in Johannesburg. Unfortunately, the one they had a few issues into that race, but it was unbelievable.
So I want to move on quickly before we talk about this year's July. I want to quickly just ask you, because I overheard your post-race interview about Maritzburg, okay? And I didn't know the history of that. Of course, I have a history because I went to university there, and I overstayed my welcome by a good number of years because, as you well know, if you'd been to Maritzburg in the 90s and before that, it was a bit of a party town. But you got a rich history there, just judging by your interview. You may not like the track that much and the results there, but I heard your interview afterwards. So your mom came from there, or she was based there, was she?
Yeah, so my family are all originally, so it's always a funny thing when they call me a Raider, but my family are all in Natal. They're all, so you can imagine the banter between the Sharks and the Stormers.
Yes.
And my mother went to school in Natal. My grandmother was a Henwood. Her two uncles owned and trained the 1902 winner of the July. So I've actually got all the stuff from the horse. In those days, they used to be stabled at not about 5 minutes from Greyville. What was it called? The old sales ground. And I still have the placard, everything from the horse.
Not Newmarket.
Yes, Newmarket. Absolutely. Yeah. So in those days in 1902, all the horses had their names on the doors, and I actually have the bronze of Chaos that won in 1902, which was my grandmother's two uncles.
Wonderful. Eh? That's a rich, rich history. Well, we're coming up to the big race again this year. You had 10 original entries. The first log was released a couple of days ago. And I just wanted to know, first, your thoughts on the log before we just run through the one scratch and Great Plains you've taken out. But just what's your opinion on the first log that was released?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, the whole idea is a lead up into a big race like this, and the Hollywood Bets Durban July is fortunate that it gets a field big enough to warrant a log. In the Cape, we sometimes battle to fill up wait for age races. No one wants penalties. No one. It's an ongoing argument. But this race, it seems that it's an added excitement and pressure. So I love it.
Yeah.
You know, this is what you're at a level where it's very high, and you've got to place your horse correctly, and
Absolutely.
It's almost like a game.
Just quickly, so your overview of it as a champion trainer, and your feeling of the different generations of horses that are competing against each other over 2,200 meters in July. I've had this debate with certain other people within the racing industry. Is your gut feel for a 3-year-old or an older horse this year? What's your gut feel?
Well, some of the 3-year-olds are not exposed. So they're racing off about 118, I would say, is like the rating. So you'd like to think that next year there'll be 24s, 26s, 28s. So in theory, they are a little bit under the radar, and the older horses that are all exposed are carrying 62 kilos, there's something about this race where, to give you an idea of how much the older guys, so the jocks that I would say, like Anthony Delpeche, Anton Marcus, probably Felix Coetzee, I'm thinking of just off the cuff of jockeys that would probably explain how much weight counts in a race like this. Anton Marcus, when Do It Again won for the first time, he redesigned the colors. They were made out of the thinnest material. Even his breastplate was made out of like literally the lightest material that he could find. So he could save weight where he could. Just to put in perspective, over 2,200 meters, up a hill into a short straight, it counts. Yeah. This is just one of those races where you want to carry as little weight as you possibly can, because for some unknown reason, this race, there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah, and with those 10 horses, you've got Great Plains, who ran such a good race in the drill hall, is out. So you've got 9 left nominated. I want to start at the top and just go through them one by one, if you don't mind. So,
sure.
See It Again is obviously going to be allotted the top weight of 62 as it currently stands. If the race was run today, would be carrying the 62 kilos. What a good win here. A good prep run leading into that. He ran over the mile, then he won over the 2,000. And then he goes, he's won the Met as well. I mean, everything has... and how's he doing? I mean, just his general well-being.
Oh, no, he's flying. He's flying. He takes it all. He's for me, it's the funniest thing. He's a chestnut version of Do It Again. They're just so similar in many ways. Stunning individual. Just cruise control. It just matter where's the race, when do you nominate, and away he goes. It's as simple as that. If there was a horse that could carry the 62, which is, it's not ideal. Trust me. He was, when they changed the conditions of the races, he was the first horse it's a shame. But I think everyone knows he is a horse that if something's going to do it with that weight, it's going to be See It Again. Because he is that much better than what's currently around out of the older horses. At Wait for Age, he'll beat them wherever he races. He is that horse today. If you made this race Wait for Age, you'd be 8 to 10. There's a couple horses that are going to sneak in with a low weight that obviously he's got to give them 10 kilos. But there's a reason why he's giving them 10 kilos, because he's 10 kilos better. He's probably 15 kilos better. So let's hope.
8 and 18 came out and ran a cracker the other day, and he's obviously now back to normal. The blinkers was an interesting tactic of yours. Do they stay on for the big race? Do they come off? What do you do?
You know, Nick, honestly, I brought some of the best horses around for that race day, and thank God they are, because the wheels came off in tactics and fitness and things like that. It was not a great showing, although we did really well in the day. They finished in the winning or running a place. Regulation went 4 wide the whole way. I think we were saved by the quality of the horses. They were really good. 8 on 18, unfortunately, he hasn't been to the course since his last run. He emptied out 100 out. He moved up next to Okavango, who's fit as a fiddle. Trust me, there's not a horse fitter in racing at the moment than Okavango. And the times don't lie. You look at the breakdown of the times in the race. 8 and 18 emptied out. So he over raced. He pulled to the start. I'll take the blame, putting the blinkers on. At home, he was a little sluggish, needed to wake up a bit. I'll take the blame. He ended up in front and just over raced. It was a bad call by myself, and I'll wear it and move on. Take the blinkers off. He'll run in the Gold Challenge, and then we'll see how he goes from there. So it will be decided after the Gold Challenge on where to go, because we see it against at the sort of the end of his career a little bit. Well, not really end of his career, but he's a hard knocker. A horse like 8 and 18 is possibly one of the most exciting prospects for stud here in South Africa. He's by Lancaster Bomber out of Snowdance. You just can't script a pedigree like that in South. I mean, if there's one horse in Gaynord's Rupert's farm that you would want to run, it's him, and the other one would have been Snow Pilot. So it's a hell of a family. Well, 8 and 18 Sampre Libre, who's a sister to Snowdance. I mean, they just all, the pedigrees are incredible. So we will just see how he goes in the Gold Challenge.
You mentioned Okavango as well. It was a brilliant win by him, and Mikael Michel riding, of course, one on him. And it's great to have a bit of French flair here in the country. She's done really well as Mikael.
Yeah, look, she's a hard worker, which I tell you, our jocks can all take a leaf out of her hat. She made the effort. Like when we were up at Summerfelt, and she'd rock up and take a few horses. She got the ride in Okavango. No one else even looked our way. So I thought you made the effort. You can ride him, game horse. So for a lot of people in this race, for me, what I look at, the first thing I look at, what horse gets the 2-2, what doesn't. If a horse, you got to definitely get a mile. In a slow run race, a miler can maybe steal the race, but you got to look at horses that get the distance, not a horse that are just getting in. You need a horse that can get 2,200. Okavango, he gets warmed up at that distance. So serious runner, got to take I just need to find the right rider for him. That for me is going to be paramount, because he's a horse that might want to just stride a little bit. You got to time it correctly, and done nothing wrong. Possibly one of the most improved horses in racing over the season from a 3-year-old. He hasn't put a foot wrong, this horse.
Then we go on to legal counsel, where you thought that the race was too close to it. The drill hall ran a cracker in the drill hall, and then he ran a fantastic race in the Met, and you've got some excited owners there of this horse, and he's been tipped as a dark horse by many that could well come and win it.
Well, the good thing for me is that he got the distance in the Met, no problem. His first run and he's won at Greyville as well. So these are all things that are big. Horses that run well at Greyville, right-hand turn. He's a horse that, wow, what a run in the drill hall. Got taken up. Yeah. I mean, I've had a couple horses this season already in Natal. As the pens open, the jocks, I think it was Gladiatorium, just took him out. He was a horse that was meant to go handy and got taken up. He's gone from leading his last 2 starts to being last, flying through the field. I mean, what a run. What a run. This horse, I go to war with this horse. If you said to me in my yard, there's one horse that I can get on and I'm going to go across the trenches, it's going to be this horse because it don't matter what's in front of him. He will go through everything. He's just that horse. Almost like he just doesn't care where he puts his feet. He's just, and it'll be a great, if he could, listen, he's high weighted in the race, so he's going to have to carry it, but he wouldn't know the difference, this horse.
Going to some of your 3-year-olds now, and that Cape Derby form is really working out so well. I mean, you've got Wishlist, who's just continuing to on her own trajectory and improving all the time. You've got Note to Self, who I had the pleasure of seeing on Met Day, winning that race. Is just a wonderful specimen to look at, just a beautiful racehorse and a very good run, running on really nicely. There's no problem with the trips there. So those two, and just talk about your 3-year-olds in totality. They're Happy Verse as well, if you want to throw him in to the mix too. What are your thoughts on your 3-year-olds?
I'll start with Happy Verse. He's a horse that he's the dark horse. If you want a dark horse, I think he is. He just needed his first run. He's come on so much from that, but he's going to have to prove it the hard way. These 3-year-olds are all going to run in the Daily News at Wait for Age. He's going to take on Note to Self. He's going to take on James Crawford's horse. They are smart individuals, but so he's got to beat what I think is probably the horse to beat in this year's July, which is Note to Self. So it's going to be hard, but the panel might look at that race and say, well, these 3-year-olds are very highly rated. I mean, if he can run second in the Daily News, I think that could be good enough to warrant getting in or being one of the horses that to certainly get in. He's a very impressive looker. Note to Self came into the last race, the last week, just needing the run a bit. He never running in a pinnacle plate. The rules, you're not allowed to go to the course, so you have to run in a you have to run in a grade 2 or grade 1 to go show them the course and to gallop just to get some fitness into him. Unfortunately, that's against the rules, which, trust me, if I know the new operators, there's going to be a change to the rule. New broom sweeps clean. So had he had a gallop, I don't think he would have lost the race, but he's just green. If Andrew had sent him too soon, he would have got tired at the end, like 8 on 18. Unfortunately, the fitness was there for not for a hard race like a beautiful horse. Yeah. Wow, like you say, you see him in the flesh.
Nice, amazing.
He's, as I said, he's a big danger to everybody. 54.5, 55, and I actually had all the weights. I think it's a little bit on the high side, I thought a little bit, but certainly very impressive. And Wishlist is just unbelievable. We're at Summerfelt the other day, and Mike de Kock says, where's this Wishlist? So I said, there she is there. And he looks at her and goes, oh, yeah, that is nice. Even he straight away looked at her and went, wow, it's got an engine. And she has. She's not a big filly, but my goodness, has it got an engine. So of all my horses, probably the second worst weighted horse of all of them, unfortunately. I don't know if she gets a filly's allowance. I think she
doesn't, obviously. So, she won't.
No, it's a pity. So she gets half a kilo from the colts. So it's an ask. She'll need to be Epitombi and more to compete at this, to be honest. But and then there's others, Regulation.
Regulation and Native Ruler. Those are the two horses, because Regulation, people are talking about, comes in with a very coming really at the bottom of the weights, won't it? If it runs.
So Native Ruler is doing really well. I thought, and was one of Andrew's great rides. There again, the horse's fitness was tested. He hit the front way too early, and he just got tired. They're asking too much of him too soon in the season. You got to give them a chance and have them run on in their first runs in Natal. Regulation was the opposite for me. He just ran 5 wide, 4 wide. Any chance that he had in the race it just didn't work out for him. I never saw it coming, to be honest. I never thought in a 10-horse field that everything could possibly go wrong. just very unfortunate. And we move on and find another race. But my goodness, what a run. To run second, I don't think there's too many horses in South Africa that would have run that wide with no cover and still run second.
But all in all, the Natal season going well. You look relatively happy with the how it's panned out thus far. And well, it's not long to go now. And obviously a few more stages to go to reach the big one. But as it stands, you've got an artillery second to none. And
it's a dream.
It's a dream.
It's a dream, honestly. It's a dream.
To have that many nominations to all earn their place, they could all really run there. And that's such a
and they look great. They really look good. I'm very proud of where we are and what we've accomplished. And, it's just nice for the last couple of years, to be honest, the last year, arriving in Natal. And as I said, a new broom sweeps clean, new operators, the building's getting renovated. I felt the same in Johannesburg, to be honest. I thought it's just so good that we're in a situation where, if you think a few years back where racing was everywhere, Johannesburg and Natal, and we're very, very fortunate to be back. I mean, it looked like we were closing doors, and just very, very fortunate and thankful. I think I get a feeling that this year's Hollywood's Best July is going to be big, and very much like what happened in Johannesburg in your big season. It's definitely a step up.
Justin, once again, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. We're wishing you well. We'll obviously be tracking all of those horses that you mentioned. It's just a wonderful thing to see how strong a stable can be when the time and effort and the clients really are there for you. And you've done such a fantastic job. As I said, you're bidding for your 7th title as a champion trainer. You're well on your way there. And we can just credit you and your whole team. And congratulations again.
I really appreciate it, but I get a feeling that God's punished me. He's given me Andrew Fortune.
That is a topic for a whole other episode.
When people send me a video and I can see he's in the video, I'm like, what am I going to have to deal with now?
I'll tell you what, let Netflix deal with him. Let Netflix deal with him and his story. It's too much.
I hope it's PG-18 Netflix. They're going to need to be.
It will be. Let Netflix do that. We're going to just stick on our straight and narrow. Thanks again, Justin. Well done. And
absolute pleasure. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.
So it's competition time now. We're not doing a competition draw this weekend, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be asking you to enter. So all you have to do is to send your name and your mobile number through to us on email. The direct line sa@gmail.com is where you need to send that through to reach us by recording date next week. And then hopefully you'll come into the draw to tip against me for the 500 Rand 10-bet betting voucher. So that's the competition. Don't forget to put your name and phone number down, pop it on an email to us at the direct line sa@gmail.com. Welcome back, and it's time now for Nico's Notebook. My thanks again to Justin Snaith for the interview. On Nico's Notebook this week, I've picked up a couple of things. Firstly, I'm going to be talking about the trip that I recently made up to Zimbabwe this last weekend, and also be talking about the Highveld Feature Season Awards and then the upcoming World Cup Soccer, which starts on the 11th of June. So I was up in Zimbabwe, and this is the race card, the Tankard race card. As you can see here, it's been running since 1960, so they've been going quite a long time. It's the oldest sponsored horse race in Africa, and it was great to see the community there all rallying together. It's just amazing what they can do up there through all the difficult times, and it actually feels like it's picking up again. Certainly there were a lot of people at the race course. There was a big music concert which was held after the last race, and I've got to say well done to them. It was certainly part and parcel of my youth growing up, taking in all the Zimbabwean racing, and it was great to commentate on the big race itself, which was eventually won by a horse that was trained by Thomas Mason. Thomas is a trainer that has actually contested the race only 3 times in the past and won all 3. and he won with a horse called Pocket Watch, ridden by South African-based jockey Malasela Kachedi. So that was the Tankard Run this last weekend. It was certainly great to see. And they're big plans for Zimbabwe. They plan on rezoning the racecourse and rebuilding it up and putting a lot more into stake money there. So those people out there watching this might want to think of sending your horses up to race in Zimbabwe, because they certainly are picking up these days. Then there's the upcoming Highveld Feature Season Awards this coming weekend. It actually takes place on Saturday. Just a look at some of the nominations. The champion 3-year-old filly will be interesting because Curious Girl won the Derby as a 3-year-old filly. Hazy Daisy won 2 legs of the Triple Tiara, and Little Miss Million won the final leg of the Triple Tiara. So that's an interesting contest. The champion 3-year-old Colt Gelding, the 2 nominees there are Grand Empire and Tin Pan Alley. I'd be swaying towards Tin Pan Alley because, of course, he won against older horses in the horse Chestnut as a 3-year-old. And then for champion older filly mare, also hotly contested, Mocha Blend won the Summer Cup, and Double Grand Slam was so impressive, winning the Empress Club Stakes. So there's lots and lots of activity out at Turffontein Racecourse this coming Saturday night for the Glittering Awards banquet held in Johannesburg. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, we've got a small matter about the FIFA World Cup, which comes up on the Thursday, the 11th of June, is the first game between Mexico and South Africa. Amazing how South Africa will be playing in the very first game, so it's great for them, Bafana. And as you know, 10Bet are an official betting partner of the Bafana team. All the betting is on the 10Bet website. They've got over 20 markets. You can bet on which continent's going to win. By the way, I think South America are actually going to win it. With which country, I'm not too sure, but I'm tipping Brazil. I'm not as big as a fundi as Andile and Doc Kumano are, but I can tell you that I've been very successful tipping winners in the World Cup, and I'm tipping Brazil, I think, to win this year's World Cup. But you can bet on the continent. You can bet on each group, who's going to top the group. You can bet, obviously, on each game and then the various markets in each game. So pop along to the 10Bet website and have a look at all the markets that they've got. Remember that if you want to bet on the overall winner, to get your bets on before the start of Thursday, the 11th of June. Well, that just about wraps it up here on the show. Thanks to you for watching, and we'll keep you posted on another edition of the Direct Line powered by 10Bet very, very soon. Thanks, and thanks again to the production team, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.